Damaged or rotten decking boards are ugly. They can be dangerous too. Luckily, they're incredibly easy to fix. I'll show you how to repair them, which will make your deck a whole lot safer and it'll last longer. Now what we've got here is a classic example of where a pot plant's been sitting on the deck. The decking boards have now gone a little bit dozy and ugly. So what we're going to do is show you exactly how to replace that section of rotten decking board. Now, the first thing you need to do is establish exactly where your nails are. That's nice and easy. In this case, it's over here. Because we've got our joist underneath there, we need something nice and solid to nail to. So for this section of decking board, what I'm going to do is cut 5mm away from those nails. So I'm going to leave the existing nails in the deck. So what I've done is cut myself a piece of timber. That's all 90 degrees on the end. I'm going to use this as a guide. What I'm going to do is nail this to that decking board, 5mm away from that nail. Make sure that's going to be nice and lined up with the edge of the board. I now know that when I cut this piece of decking board out, that's going to leave it perfectly 90 degrees. So what I'm going to do is pin that down, and when we're finished with it, that'll just get popped up, thrown on the rubbish. Now I'm just going to use my pin gun here to fix that board down. If you don't have a finishing gun, just use the old hammer and nails. Now for this job, I'm using the multi-tool with our wood cutting blade, and also I've got a depth gauge on the front here. I've set that to 35mm, the exact thickness of our decking, so I'm not going to hit our joist in behind. Now if you don't have a multi-tool, you can just use a hammer and chisel. Okay, we've cut through our decking board, it's all ready to go. The only thing we need to do now is pull out our nails in the middle of the board here. So to do that, I'm just going to use our cat's paw, or nail puller if you will. And to do that, all we simply do is just sit that at the back of the nail, give it a good hard whack. Rightio, we're just about there. I've got 2 more nails that's sitting underneath this trellis. Now to get to that, I'm going to use the multi-tool again. Now I'm just going to take out our wood cutting blade and swap it over with our metal cutting blade. Now that's just going to cut through those nails. Lovely. Okay, all our nails are out of our decking board now. First thing we need to do is take off our little guide block here. Right, now let's just pop up our board. Okay, next thing to do is just measure out our length of decking board, and we go and cut that. It's 1163. Okay, just before we put our decking board in, now as you can see, that multi-tool has given us a perfect 90-degree cut there. Now, the only other thing is I've got about 12mm of my joist left to fix to underneath. So there's a couple of different things we could do here. I can either pre-drill an angle for our nails to go through on the end of our decking board, but the only thing is that's going to look quite ugly when we skew those in. So what I'm going to do is bang a block on our existing joist here. That's going to give me something nice to fix to with our decking nails on the end here, and they're just going to go through down 90 degrees. I'm going to use the battery drill to screw the block in place. Now if you are unsure of what sort of decking to get, just take in your old piece of Mitre 10 and the guys there will help you out. Okay, I've cut my piece of timber, that's ready to go in. Just before we do that, what I'm going to do is just put a light eris on the end of our decking board, just on a slight 45 degree. All that's going to do is just take off any sharp edge. Right, we can drop that in. Now that's looking absolutely marvellous. So, kind of just line up our nails with our existing ones on the deck, about 15mm in from the edge of our board. Now because we're using about a 3.5mm thick nail, I've got a 2.5mm drill bit in there. That's going to make sure that nail goes in there quite nice without splitting the decking board. And we want to just go on a slight angle. That's going to give our nail something a little bit extra to grip to. Now the nails I'm using here are 75mm annular groove. Because I've got 30mm thick timber, I want a 75mm nail. Now these have got a groove on the end, that's why it's called an annular groove. That helps it key into the timber, stop the decking board popping the nail out. Now just do the same for the two ends. Now, if you are worried about this being a different colour to your deck, you know what, give that another 6 months and that'll all blend in exactly the same. And that's all there is to it. Just check your deck for any other damaged boards, use the same method to replace them, and you'll have yourself a safer, stronger deck to enjoy.